Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. I hope you've had a fabulous week as I have. It's been a really interesting turn of events. I've tried this week not to watch the news because it's too depressing, even though I do try and keep up on world events. But I decided this week it was going to be a news-free week. And boy, hasn't it been amazing not to be focusing on anything other than just being and spending some time with myself and my family and just really just having a little bit of a chill out. But I know that that can't last much longer. We all have to get back into the real world. And I'm sure that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm sure we will get on top of this. But for the moment, I think we all are just a little bit pandemic fatigued. And I think that's where, you know, having a little bit of time out, not listening to the news or doing something that brings a smile to your face, you know, listening to some music or watching your favourite movie or just spending time with family if you're able to do so and friends, gives you that renewed feeling of, you know, I've recharged my batteries and I'm ready to go again. Now, here in Australia, we don't celebrate Halloween, but I know our American family do, and they're heading towards their magical, spooky time of the year. For me, Halloween is a special time of the year, not just because I believe in it, but 16 years ago on Halloween was when our Simply Tarot deck was launched worldwide. And, you know, when I looked at the calendar the other day and realised it was 16 years, we're coming up for 16 years, it only seemed like yesterday, that it made me sort of feel proud. And it was almost like letting go of one of my children, sort of saying, you know, they've got to sweet 16 and they won't be long and they'll be off to college. So here we go with the Simply Tarot card of the week, which is one of my favourite cards, which is the Star card. It's the card of brightness and hope. And let's hope that we can bring some brightness and hope around the world this week. It could bring excesses though, so be careful not to become greedy. Now, sometimes when we're on a roll and when the good times are rolling, we tend to forget to sort of, you know, these days aren't always going to be there, and we can become a little bit greedy and not sort of be aware of the fact that, yes, we've got some good fortune, we've got some wonderful things happening in our lives. Maybe we should share some of that with someone else, or maybe we should donate something or give something away or just put something away for a rainy day and sort of, you know, enjoy the high while it's there, enjoy the bright, hopeful things that are happening in your life, but also be aware that this may be short-lived and maybe we should share that happiness with someone else. I'm a firm believer in giving. The more you give, the more you shall receive, is what I was taught. And to give something, you give it willingly. You don't expect anything in return. And every time I see the Star card, I tend to think of, what can I do for someone else? What can I do to brighten their day, to bring them some hope? What is it that I can do? And it doesn't always have to be on a monetary value. It can be just sometimes making a simple phone call, sending a message or a text message to someone and saying, hi, how are you? I've been thinking of you. And that can be enough to brighten their day if they're in a little bit of a downer or not going through some great times in their lives. And, you know, for many of us, there's been so much illness and sadness and things like that, not just from the pandemic, but a lot of people have been fighting, you know, very serious illnesses in this last 18 months to 2 years too. So there's been a lot of things that people have had to contend with all the way around. So let's shine the star very, very bright as we head towards Halloween, which is when the veil is at its thinnest and we can be the closest we can to the other side, and be thankful for our blessings. Be thankful that we are alive, we are breathing, we have our health, we have, you know, good friends and family, and we have a lot to celebrate in life. So I want this week to be a week of celebration for everybody. So the Simply Tarot cards, as I said, was, you know, 16 years ago this week. It'll be being launched worldwide. And it came about by an Australian publisher coming to me wanting to do a tarot set that people could teach themselves from the privacy of their own home and not needing a teacher. So that was how Simply Tarot was born. So it was born in that way to be able to bring about things in people's lives where people could actually teach themselves from the privacy of their own home. And that's what happened. And that's how the Simply Tarot set was born. Now, we're going to move on to the astrology section, and each week I sort of say to you, look, it's, you know, it seems to get more and more and more pronounced. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we seem to be having more information there that we need to talk about with astrology. And I want to sort of say to you this week It is a little bit of an easier week astrologically, and I don't think we've had that for some time, where we've had an opportunity where I can sort of say to you that we have got an opportunity there where astrology is not sort of really sort of full on in your face, and we've got so much we've got to work through. Yes, we still have the planets dancing around the universe, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite as intense as it's been for what seems like a very, very long time now. Yes, the energy has moved from the sun has moved out of Libra and has gone into Scorpio. So this is sort of the intense time of the year. This is where we really need to get down to the nuts and bolts and delve below the surface and look at what is happening in our lives and start to look at what we need to be sort of focusing on, or how we want to sort of work with things in our lives and be able to understand our emotions and what drives us. So for some people, there may be a couple of little bit of down days, or introspection days, where you sort of feel that you just want to be in your own company and sort through a few things, or just chill out and do nothing, like I wanted to do, just sort of shut the world out. And that's okay. We need to recharge our emotional batteries from time to time. Now, we all know about the climate change summit that's coming up in Glasgow, and the world leaders will be heading there in the next few days. And this aspect, I truly believe, is for them. Now, I don't often talk about inconjuncts on this show. Now, an inconjunct is meaning it's a 150-degree angle between two planets. It's not necessarily the easiest one. It's sort of like putting two people in a room that don't particularly want to be there, that they haven't got a lot to say to each other, but they've got to be there because of circumstances. That's literally how an inconjunct works. So interestingly enough, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, which is sitting in Libra, which is everybody's going to try and play happy families, and we're all going to get on, and we've got our game face on. It's very smiley and very happy. And yes, I'm pleased to be here, but underneath this is I'm here for my own agenda, and this is what I'm going to achieve. But I'll do the smiley, shaking hands and patting you on the back and telling you how wonderful it is to see you energy. And then the inconjunct part is that we have Uranus in Taurus. Now, Uranus is the planet of the unusual and the unexpected. Sitting in Taurus, now Taurus energy is about me, myself, and I. It's about what's mine's mine and what's yours is mine. So it's quite a selfish sort of energy in that way, but it is an energy and of practicality. But it's also about resources. It's also about money. So any time that you see a planet sitting in Taurus, it means we need to focus on personal finances. So this is where I think it is so interesting. We've got all these world leaders congregating together in Glasgow for a climate change summit. Everybody's got their own agenda. Everybody's coming with their little folder that says, look at me, I need a gold star. Aren't I good? I've projected we're going to achieve this by 2030 and this by 2050. Whether or not that's actually true is another thing, or how they're going to pay for it or how they're going to implement it. Well, we don't ask them those details. We're all there to have a backslapping festival of telling each other how wonderful we are on the guise of we're doing something for the climate. Well, let's hope they do achieve something. I mean, they've already started to put out there that they don't know that this is going to be terribly successful. I mean, really, who goes into a meeting saying a week or two outside the meeting, I don't think this is going to be successful? You go in there with positivity and giving it your best shot and hoping that everybody else is on the same page. It really amuses me in not a very pleasant way that politicians are already looking for the get out of jail free card before they even attend something these days. They already sort of prime the stage that, oh, this may not work, but we're going to do it anyway. What a load of nonsense. If the rest of us worked that way in the rest of the world, we wouldn't get anything done. So let's hope with this inconjunct, it's going to spur them along that, yes, they can go in there with their happy smiley faces, but maybe with Uranus there in Taurus, Uranus will create openings or opportunities in a sudden sort of unexpected way. It's almost like Uranus will pull the tablecloth off the table with the best china sitting on it and sort of see whether anything breaks. So expect that there could be some fiery outbursts. There may even be a couple of people a couple of nations that might walk out and say this is all too hard, or you're not listening to me. Just expect there could be some unexpected answers to come out of this. I'm always the optimist, and I'm hoping for some very, very positive breakthroughs that by sitting them all together in a room that they come up with some amazing solutions, and we really do start to get this planet back on track, and we do start to get on top of global warming. So we've also got Mars, the planet of action, which is the one that makes us get out of bed of a morning, is also sitting in Libra, but is definitely too far away from Mercury to be sort of really having any great influence there. So it's like, you know, there'll be a lot of energy in the room. There'll be a lot of, as I said, backslapping and smiling and telling each other how wonderful they are. But there will also be the serious side to the business at hand, is what they went there for too. And I think there may be a few hidden agendas there, or there may be some crosswords or people getting a little bit hot under the collar, which is what you would expect if people are passionate about making change. We do expect to see some passionate exchanges. So let's watch that one with bated breath to see if we do get any results out of that. It should be very interesting. Now, don't forget, we've still got Saturn, the planet of discipline, or the father figure planet, as I like to call it, in the zodiac, sitting in Aquarius. Now, anytime you've got something sitting in Aquarius, it means that we can think outside the square. We're looking for solutions that aren't necessarily obvious. So with Saturn sitting here in Aquarius, to me, this gives it a good flavour to be able to say maybe this is the perfect time for them to be going to Scotland for the climate change. Just maybe we might have at least one or two free-thinking people in the room that might have a radical, brand new way of looking at something, or stir a few old fuddy-duddies up to look at things in a different way, to think outside the square, to not just put their same feet in the same holes as they go around the same racetrack. Let's find some innovative, different answers. And I'm sure there is some innovative, different answers out there. We just haven't discovered them yet, or nobody's voiced them yet. But I'm sure they're all there. We also have Jupiter, the planet as if these two are major planets are doing their dance through Aquarius, but they're not holding hands. So they're really strong in their own right, in that way that Jupiter is giving us the opportunities to have the breakthroughs, to have the insight, to be able to sort of look into a crystal ball almost and sort of see what the future could be if we don't start to find some innovative out-of-the-box solutions now. We may find it's all too late. So we really do have to be looking at some very, very different changes moving forward. We've still got Neptune retrograde, which means he's going backwards in Pisces. So there's still a little bit of illusion and delusion going on. And I think that sort of, yes, I would apply it to the summit, but I also would apply that to more personally to each and every one of us too. That maybe, just maybe, that we've needed to have a little bit of a chill out, as I've been talking about, and sort of just allowing our imagination or our thought patterns to run wild. Just let them run wild, see where our daydreams take us. Out of that might come some inspiration as we head towards the end of this year and we look towards the early part of 2022, where, you know, we'll have a brand new year and some brand new resolutions and ideas for what we hope to achieve out of next year. But maybe what we need to reflect on as this year comes to a close in the next couple of months is that we've all done an almighty job to get through this year. You know, it hasn't been an easy year. Nothing has been able to be planned or sort of for very long or very far ahead. So we've had to live by the seat of our pants, and we've all done incredibly well with that. And we've all had so much, you know, conflicting information that we've had to digest and sift through and work out what's right for us. And, you know, some of us have been able to see family again and others of us haven't been able to see family again. So it's been a really tricky time on the emotions and our lives and our work. And for many people, there's been some massive decisions to make, you know, whether to stay in the current job that they were in. Maybe the job wasn't there at the end of the pandemic, or it had changed a lot, that you had to sort of reevaluate what was important to you and your family. And I know a lot of families around the world have relocated, moved to other locations or moved back to where they've come from because, you know, that's what's been brought about by the pandemic, that it's given them those opportunities to reorganise their lives and look at things through a different lens. So it's not all bad. I think it's been a very interesting, productive year for 2021. It's not over yet. We've still got a few months here to tidy up the loose ends. So let's go and talk with Caitlin in Maysville in North Carolina. Are you there, Caitlin?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Caitlin?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to shut myself in the room. Okay. Am I doing the right thing by getting married within the next few weeks?
Well, that's a really interesting question, Caitlin. If you're questioning and asking me whether or not you're doing the right thing, then obviously you've got some reservations or you're questioning it yourself. Is that correct?
Not really, but I like to be extra safe. I've already done it one time, and I don't want
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah. No, normally people don't question it a few weeks out from a marriage unless they have some sort of questions themselves. Look, I don't feel it's a bad decision at all, Caitlin. I mean, I can understand you've been down that road once and you're not wanting to repeat history again. But I think you've got to look at it that you're a very different person now and you're marrying somebody completely different from the first time round. And hopefully you've got a little bit more wisdom and a little bit more understanding and know exactly where you're going and who you are and what you're expecting out of this marriage. If anything, I'm going to say I think your future husband at times, I think, is a little bit overzealous trying to make you happy. Instead of just sort of saying or putting everything on the table and saying, this is how I feel, he tends to look to you for guidance or your decision or how you feel first. And then he sort of chimes in with, yeah, that's how I feel, or that's a great idea, or whatever. So just be a little bit aware of that. I think we need to cultivate some really open, honest communication, and we don't always have to agree. That's the one beautiful thing about marriages and strong relationships is that sometimes we can agree to disagree and, still be happy with the outcome because that's what makes a good relationship. So have the two of you talked about a change of residence after you're married?
Yes, ma'am. We've actually been together almost. We just had our 3-year anniversary of being together, actually.
Yeah, but is there a move on the cards next year? Because they keep showing me a move with a question mark, and I wasn't sure how to tie that in.
We've moved several. We moved once since we've been together, yeah. Well, there was a situation when shortly after we got together where another girl had tried to come into the relationship and it caused a little bit of a problem and we ended up moving from there.
Yeah, but could there be a local move where you are now, sort of, around March, April next year? Would there be the potential of possibly that into something to me that would be?
Yeah, we're actually trying to move stable. Currently. We're looking for another place to move.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know that it's going to come off just yet. They were sort of showing me around March, April next year. And to me, it was sort of like a real stabilisation. By making the move, you seem to be, I don't know whether it's necessarily just a move or whether you could be looking to buy something. Because to me, it was like I was really putting down roots. So could that be on the cards that you're looking to purchase something to be, the home for the two of you to share?
That would be awesome.
Yes, that's just by the way that they showed it to me, Caitlin. To me, it wasn't just a move for the sake of a move. This to me was, I was like, wow, we can finally put down roots and start a good life together. And that's why I'm leaning towards maybe the potential of being able to purchase something of your very own. And that might be where the question mark comes in, that you didn't think you were in a position where you could do that or it was achievable yet. And that's why you're going to be questioning it and sort of going, oh, wow, this is amazing. So I'll just leave that with you. It's sort of something I think that you need to just keep your eyes and your ears open. And, there may just be an opportunity there that you two can become homeowners a lot sooner than what you think. So enjoy your wedding, Caitlin, and I wish you both every happiness. We're going to talk with Bobby now in Boyers in Pennsylvania. Are you there, Bobby?
I am.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Bobby?
What's that?
Do you have a question, sweetie, you would like me to answer?
Yeah, am I going to get any kind of relief around here? I've had some bad luck lately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Bobby. I can hear it in your voice. Yes, look, I think the worst is over. I'd love to say that there's nothing but, sunshine and rainbows and lollipops, but I still think we've got a little tiny way to go yet, Bobby. The thing that jumps out at me the most is that you seem to be extremely hurt by the way that people have let you down. besides all the other things that have come in on top of you as well. But I think the biggest disappointment out of this is people that I thought I could count on, I could rely on, were just not there. Is that been the hardest struggle out of all this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's going to take you a little bit of time, sweetie, to come to terms with that. It's not something you can just turn it off and say, oh, well, I've dealt with all that. This is been pretty hard hitting. And these are people that, you know, I'm not saying people you only met last week. These are people you've known for a long time, and you've been there for them many, many, many times. And the one time that you needed a bit of a hand, they all disappeared for the hills. It's like that I think has been the hardest part of this to deal with. I'm not saying there hasn't been difficult issues and, you know, difficult things that have been put in your path, but I think this has been the bitterest pill of all to swallow. It's interesting because I don't like to see things like this where the universe sort of ramps everything up to sort of get everything out of the road really quickly, but that seems to be what they're doing with you, Bobby. It's sort of like what you normally might spread over 5 or 8 years, they've sort of condensed it into being in less than 6 months. And it's like, you know, every time you get up, you've been knocked down again, you get up again, you get knocked down again. You think, I just don't know whether I've got the tenacity, the strength, the know-how to even get up and go again. Well, you have, and you will. But sometimes when the universe does this, it's because they want to move everything along very quickly so that they can get you to the better part of life. So I'm going to say to you, by about February next year, and I know that still sounds a long way off, but believe me, it isn't. You know, you've been through the absolute worst. But from here on in, each day is going to get a tiny bit brighter. But by the time we get to February next year, you're going to see that you can throw the doors open and the sunshine's coming in, and you're going to have so much to look forward to in your life. You'll look back at this and say, yeah, that was really difficult. I've dealt with it. I don't want to go there again. I don't want to visit it again, but I have processed it and I have dealt with it and I haven't left any stone unturned. So in that way, I think you're doing remarkably well. So I know it's hard. And the best thing I can say to you is don't hold back your emotions. If you feel like you need to have a good cry, then have a good cry. If you feel like you want to stand in the middle of the room and stamp your feet and jump up and down and scream, then do that. You know, we've got to do whatever we've got to do to try and get our emotions under control, you know, to release things. The worst thing we can do is hold in these type of very intense emotions, because that's what creates sickness in our body, because we put it away. I don't know what we put it away for and why we keep it, but we sort of don't feel that we can release emotions because we haven't been taught that we've got to sort of bury it or hide it in some way. And then that sort of puts pressure on our bodies in ways that it shouldn't be there. Darling, look, my heart really goes out to you, because I can just see sort of, it's like there's just been so much that's been thrust upon you in such a short space of time. You really do deserve a medal for being able to still be standing and still breathing and still talking with what you've been through. But you are incredibly strong. It is coming to an end. There will have been a reason for this, to get it all out of the road so that we can start to get some really bright, positive things back in your life. So is there no one special in your life at the moment as far as romance, Bobby? No special partner?
What's that?
Do you not have someone special in your life at the moment?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, because they were showing me romance like as if it was fresh and it was new again. Maybe that's just the two of you coming out the other side of all that you've been through and really just sort of rekindling the feelings you have for each other, you know, that everything is just so bright and positive and loving. And next year is just going to be such a different year. There's a change of residence coming up, which I think is for the better too. It's only a local move, but that sort of puts a whole different slant on things. Money is starting to come back towards you guys. Your health's improving. And I think you're going to open the doors up to some new, really exciting friendships, people that you can trust and people you can rely on. It's like, you know, we had to really give the tree a really good shake and get rid of all the rotten apples. And unfortunately, there isn't much left on the tree now. You know, we've sort of given just about everybody a shake off, haven't we? But they deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but darling, I know it's hard, but if you can look at it in the lens that I am, that once you come out the other side of this and you're so close to that, then we go into the wishing well. We go into an opportunity of life where things are so much better, so much happier. It's like this is the last bit is the hardest, and it usually is the hardest, is the last bit of any drama or situation we go through, and then we come out the other side and we feel a bit battle scarred and fatigued, and we sort of wonder how we did it, but we did it. And that's the main thing. You've got to keep reminding yourself you've done it. You've achieved it. You came out the other side. The others that you've had to let go of that really were never truly your friend anyway, they're only there for what you could give them, they're the ones that are going to be remorseful over this. They're the people that are going to be the biggest losers out of all this, because they will no longer have you and your support anymore. So that's their lesson to learn. It's their grudge to bear now. They've got to learn to do it on their own, and that's a good thing. So it's more about Bobby looking after Bobby and, you know, just focusing on you and your relationship and moving forward, and everything will certainly get brighter from here on in, Bobby.
I hope so.
So I hope that's helped you, sweetie.
What's that?
That's where I said, I hope that's helped you. That's where we're going to leave Bobby now. We've only got a couple of minutes of the show left. So wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours, I hope if you do celebrate Halloween, or even if you don't celebrate Halloween, make sure that you light a candle on that day and sort of, you know, give a thought to the past over people that you've lost, and not just in recent times, but you've lost since, you know, you've been in existence, and bear a thought for them, because it is the time when the veil is the closest and we can sort of certainly feel their presence. Some people like to sit down and have a little feast for them, you know, set a place at the table and a glass of wine or a glass of milk and some food for them as an offering to them. Do whatever feels right to you. For me, I like to spend the day by just reflecting and reminiscing of the people that I've lost over the years, and sort of know that they're still with me, and I honour them in that way. Yes, of course, I light a couple of candles and you know, have a little bit of time out to do that. But it's whatever you feel is the right thing for you. And for me, it's always an extra special day. As I said, it's Simply Tarot's birthday, and this year she's turning 16, and I couldn't be a more prouder mama in that way. But for those of you that don't have something as significant as that to celebrate, why not just celebrate being alive and be thankful that you have lots of passed over relatives and friends and things like that that are there to guide you every single day. And it's like their birthday. You know, we're celebrating everybody's birthday all on the one day. That's what Halloween means to me. So until next week, enjoy your Halloween. And this week I've been listening to Stevie Wonder. And one of the songs that I've been playing over and over and over again is called Higher Ground. Until next week, bye for now.